What is up, you all? This is Austin Pegram here, host of the Fitness That Fits You podcast, coming into you today with a daily reminder to be good to yourself. I am the owner of Fitness That Fits You and head coach, and today I have a friend and client with me, very special individual, been with me for about 3 years now, as a client and as a friend. Miss Holly Cropper. Holly, say hello to the
Hello.
people.
Hello to the people. Hi, everybody. As
We're gonna
Austin
have
spits
some
his
fun.
coffee out. Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun here today. So Holly, introduce yourself a little bit. I brought Holly on the show specifically because I've had a lot of obviously some communication with Holly and conversation with Holly over the past 3 years, and have taken in a lot of content just from her alone. And so, I want Holly today. We're going to end up sharing her story, of course, but I want you to know who Holly is. So, Holly, what do you do for work? You got any kids? What do you love about fitness? Where are you from? All this other stuff, all the
Okay.
good stuff.
All the things. I got it. Hi, everybody. I'm Holly Cropper. What do I do for work? I'm a CPA working in industry now. So I manage an accounting team for Feeder Supply Company, a local company, uh, previously family owned and operated here in Louisville, Kentucky. I joined that business back in February of 2020. It's been an interesting year to change jobs, to say the least. Lots of challenges and growth in my career because of that, certainly in my management style. I'm a working mom. I have two boys, two rambunctious boys who thankfully are out of the house playing outside right now, but we might hear them in the background at some point today because we are on Thanksgiving break, extended Thanksgiving break because of COVID. So, and we're working through all of those things. We'll talk more about remote learning and working from home and balancing those things. My husband is also in accounting, so we lead a very nerdy accounting household, which means we work a lot. Austin's laughing at me again, but that's what I say. Two accountants in a house, we talk a lot about math and accounting puzzles, and many late nights spent between my husband Brad and I on the couch just watching TV and working to fit everything in the day.
Nice.
Um, Lover of fitness. So, I found Austin. I had a 2-year old at home and almost 4-year old at home, and was ready to kind of find some time for myself, refocus on my health and fitness. And with that, have really refueled my love. I played sports in high school and early on, and then intramurals in college, and took a break, got busy with life, work, marriage, kids, and came back to fitness a couple of years ago, and really has helped me to balance all the stress that I carry in my life and find some good self-confidence and some strength and power that makes me feel good about the things that I do.
Let's go. Now, tell me real fast. You mentioned a couple things that I already want to dive in quickly. So, your sports that you played in high school. So, what sports that you play? Holly's pretty tall, you all, by the way. So you can imagine what sports she might have played, but I want her to tell you all too.
Yeah, so being a 5'9", 10-ish male, I played volleyball and basketball. Um, Attempted a few other things. There was a powder puff football league go round there. That was a disaster. Not a football player. Never
Wait,
going to
why
be a
was
football player. Just not my thing. Even powder puff, where we all had no skills really. Um, just not
did you,
coordinated enough to
okay?
to to do it. My coordination; it's not the
Yeah.
best. So volleyball and basketball were my primary sports for a very long time. My dad coached me in basketball in grade school, which really was my main love was basketball for a long time, but found out I was a little bit better at volleyball, and so that became more of my focus.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans. Um, Well, nice, Holly. So we're gonna end up, Holly's already given us some good information, some good, stuff to go on here. And so we're gonna end up diving into all of that. Absolutely. Real fast before we get on with the good shit. Holly and I have been scheduling and working on the details for this very awesome event coming up. Well, it was supposed to already have
Right.
taken place, but obviously the pandemic, and so it's a women's wellness retreat. And so I don't want to steal the show here on that information. I want Holly to kind of shed some light on the details that we have for you now with that. But that'll be coming out in April. Holly, what sort of things can they expect in that event?
Yeah. So, working with Austin, I always talked about wanting this idea of a wellness retreat. You hear about these wonderful spa experiences that many of us can't afford or are far out of reach for our schedules in, Arizona and so forth. And so we found Progress Park, which is a local family owned and operated kind of Airbnb Airstream resort. And they have this beautiful land here right in the city of Louisville with a couple of converted Airstreams, two really nice housing facilities, a little pond and a track and all kinds of things. And so we want to bring sort of a wellness focused retreat to women here in Louisville and surrounding areas if you want to travel in to get a broad brush of experience with different types of exercise activities. We're hoping to have stand-up paddle boarding on the lake, kayaking, canoeing, as well as some more traditional boot camp style exercise. And we'll also focus on nutrition, potentially supplements, some yoga, some massage. And we're looking at a 24-hour event. With COVID, we're working out logistics on whether folks will still be staying over or not. The event's slated to happen April 24th through 25th of 2021 now. And so we're still, working out COVID restrictions and logistics and hoping that a vaccine comes through to allow folks to really take full advantage of what we had originally envisioned, but adapting as we need to.
Yeah. Very cool. So I'm obviously, very excited for this. I grew up with my mother, of course, being a single mom in the home, and then 4 other aunts. So, and then, as long as I can remember, I obviously have always had a girlfriend. And so that was silly for me to say, but now I live in a home full of women. I have a female dog. I have two daughters, and I've always been surrounded by it, but I still don't know a damn thing about women. And so this is going to be a very uncomfortable situation for me, but it's a great thing to put myself in the middle of, because, that is my audience, and, I want to learn from those, and I can see these people every single day and do a training program or have a training program for them and still not, truly be learning these individuals in the way that I'd like. And so, Holly's been really good in the way of, just providing that perspective over the years. And so that is something, of course, that I always will appreciate her for, and why I appreciate her idea of wanting to do this event. So this is going to be really awesome. I'm really excited to be uncomfortable. And it's going to be great. Okay. So, we'll obviously have more details for you, coming in the future podcasts and future posts and things like that. So be looking out for that. Okay. Now, why is Holly here, you ask? Well, so, and Holly may not, she may not 100% know this, but as a coach and personal trainer, I do, listen quite a bit, and I do have to play that counsel role, if you will, that therapist role at times. And so, just over the years, while I can never truly understand because I'm not a mother, and my job and my professional experience has always been a bit different than those that I coach. I've always wanted to try and understand and try to get on that level and try to understand perspective. And one thing that I've seen amongst the hardworking women that I coach is that there's always this stress, this level of frustration that they carry with them, this level of uh, um, being influenced by other people, women, if you will. This expectation that you have to be like them. Work kind of, taking away from you finding out about yourself, your kids taking away from you finding out about yourself, while the men are like, they discover themselves every day, and so, these are things that I've picked up on. And Holly, being that she is such a high level, she has a high level of responsibility with her work. I've noticed that tenfold with her. And so that is why I wanted to have Holly on, because if anything, she's going to be a great example of how you can manage those stresses. And while they may still take you out some days, you're still having good days. You're still getting shit done and still finding ways to do for you. But it is freaking hard. Okay. Holly, the first thing I want to do is kind of touch base with you on, with like your work life and how that kind of has an impact on your just your daily life in general. I know your unique experience before February when you switched jobs. You were pretty just shot. Just done with your previous job. And I think that was having both a physical and a mental toll on you. I don't want to get too confusing. Let's just have a quick conversation on the transition from that job to this job, what that's been for your psyche and your mental. And then two, the impact that, working as often as you do and having that responsibility that you do, what kind of impact that has on you and your ability to take care of yourself and do things for you and your self-care.
So, I think if listeners know anybody who works in a higher level accounting role, CPA, tax, CPAs don't all do taxes. I'll just put that little plug in there, right? But managing corporate accounting departments, CFO level roles, controller level roles, it comes with a high level of expectation. Not to say that there aren't other corporate office jobs or other jobs in general that don't have that. Particularly in my career, especially since leaving public accounting, I've found myself in positions where I'm one of or the only woman in a room with a lot of men who have a lot of support at home. Their wives don't work, or their wives work a job that is more flexible. Or, a lot of times they're much older than me. Their kids are grown and they are able to spend tons of time working. And the expectations that come with my job to produce financial statements and deliver financial results and manage cash flow and all of those things, regardless of the position, because of the level where I am working now, there are just high expectations. And then, of course, because you're in a finance role, there are also high expectations to keep your head count low. So you find yourself in positions where you're managing folks who have to wear multiple hats. You yourself have to wear multiple hats. And the biggest struggle for me has always been the demand of time, and balancing that with being a person who has chosen to stay in the workforce and have 2 children at home and have a husband who has a very similar job. And so we juggle a lot of work hours, which are just part of the work expectation. I've always known that. It's a choice I make. I also am a bit of a perfectionist, right? And have high expectations for myself, which everyone should. But it makes it hard for me to step away from work. And so that's been probably the biggest struggle with the pressures that are naturally in the roles that I've chosen to work in, are the personal things that I've brought to that role of the desire to continue to grow and achieve. And then to kind of be in a world where sometimes I'm not always understood because the challenges at home, Austin, as you mentioned, and we've talked about it a lot, aren't the same. It puts a lot of pressure for me to look at most of the examples I have in the workforce, which are generally men who, as I mentioned, aren't dealing with the same things I am at home on an equal level. all the time. It's hard to not look at that and say, I've got to do everything they're doing. I probably have to do it a little bit better or a lot better so I can achieve that next step in my career. And then I also still have all these high aspirations of being this wonderful, super mom at home and giving my kids all the experiences of trying to be in the classroom when I can be, to help with parties and to do all of those things, right? That really society makes people think we should be doing. And some of that is stuff I've always wanted to do, just innate in what I know about my person. But some of it, I think I have come to terms with. It's outward pressure of me thinking that that's what I should be doing, when in reality, some of those things that I'm doing aren't making me happy, aren't fulfilling me, are adding stress, and really detracting from my well-being, because I'm not getting the sleep I need. I'm not exercising, which I have learned is critical to my mindset and my ability to juggle all the things I do. And so with the job transition, I really was burnt out at the last place. There was a lot going on. Moved to a role that was closer, 45 minutes or so commute closer to home. That's added a ton of time back in my day. A little bit less responsibility. But, now we're starting to see that business take off and grow. And that's exciting. I keep finding myself in these roles. That's part of my personality. But with it comes, again, a lot to juggle. So you go to work, come home, take care of what you need to at home, run around and do all the errands. And then a lot of times I was up working again, log in at 10. One of my children takes forever to fall asleep at night. So I log in at 10:30 and work until 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning, get a couple of hours of sleep, get up and do it all over again. And to say it wore on me, it did, right? Austin, you got firsthand experience of some of those really stressful days where I come to work out and my workout sucks too. And I was really counting on my workout to give me that self-confidence boost I needed, because at least I know if I have a really hard day at work, or it's a really hard parenting day, or maybe Brad and I aren't communicating the best, like workout is the place where I can redeem all of that. And then I'd have those days where, because I was tired, because I hadn't eaten well, right? Let's talk about all the things I'm doing. I a lot of times forget to eat until 2 and 3 in the afternoon, which is not great. And then I'd have a bad workout, and that would really, really suck too. And that's where Austin got to be my counselor and help me see the positive and things I had accomplished in the day, and that tomorrow would be a new day and we'd start over again. That even moving my body for the time we were together was healthy and good for me. And so
that's right.
Hope that answers your question. That was a lot of it.
That's
really kind of how my work cycle has gone, and where I am now. With the new job it's a little bit better, starting to pick up again. I am learning to be more disciplined about turning work off. Balancing that with working from home more is becoming a bit of a challenge. But trying to just give myself a little bit more grace and less pressure as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that answers my question and then some. I had a very loaded question for you, so you gave me everything I needed. So I mean, and you can imagine that all of that is going to have an impact on your, on just how you're able to do the things that you love to do for you. So before I even get into, fitness and the nutritional requirements for fitness and the movement requirements for fitness, like what are just some of the things that you like to do, hobbies, and those things are obviously going to be affected by everything else that you have to do. So, but I mean, what are some of the things that you like to do?
I mean, you know what?
Curveball.
Yeah, I don't have much time for hobbies. I've had a couple of people tell me in my life, especially when I'm talking to them in a completely stressed out moment, that hobbies are important. But I mean, fitness is probably my hobby. Before our schedules got super busy and my kids were in sports when they could play sports and after school activities and so forth, Brad and I like to play different sand volleyball leagues around. I enjoy crafting and those sorts of things, but there is just no time for that. So really today my time is spent, my hobbies are seeing my family, my friends, in fitness.
Okay. So they've just kind of been manipulated a little bit, and changed. But that's good. Okay, so and seeing those changes happen, seeing those, your hobbies go from one thing to the other, I would imagine in the process of that happening, it's probably kind of like a weird, or I guess you could say unsettling, like feeling, right? Because you still want to do these things, but life is just pushing you in the direction of something else.
Yeah.
So like, what's it kind of been like? Just over the years, like just having to change, the way you give time to your hobbies and what the hobbies actually are. What's that been like? What's that felt?
I mean, I think it's hard. Again, I don't really want to say friends and family are a hobby, right? But just in general, with time management, right? You make a lot of hard choices about what to say no to, and as I've decided to focus on fitness more, and then of course, always prioritizing my family first. What's really suffering lately is my friendships and just the time with friends. There's just not enough time, and I continue to choose to put a lot into work, and I will do that for a long time because it is meaningful to the future of what I want to be able to give my children and what I want for my family and my future, right? And so that's another choice that I've made.
Yeah.
But you feel guilty with some of the choices you make, and then when you give things up, right, it's hard to do that. But for me, it's always been a thought out decision of we're going to stop playing volleyball because we're tired of running from point A to point B. The boys' behavior is showing that they're not really keen on having to sit at volleyball on a Friday night when we could be spending family time, right? So what we've implemented lately, kind of in place of some of those things, like we do family fun night on Friday nights, and sometimes it's really simple, like just watch a movie at home, and a lot of nights that's what that is now. But it's something the boys look forward to, and it's a way that we are getting good quality family time, and so the trade-off there is rewarding.
Yeah.
Be sacrificing playing volleyball and getting in some time with friends, but we're really getting that quality time with our family.
Right. I love it. So you all, and I think that, as a coach, when I'm in front of individuals and I'm talking to them and trying to push them in the path of, remembering their goals and working toward those, I never forget that all of these things are happening too, right? The fitness is just like letter Z in the alphabet, right? You've still got the entire alphabet that you're dealing with, that you're working and navigating around on a day-to-day basis. So these things, I never forget. It is pretty, I would imagine it's tough, for anybody to, navigate through all of this on a day-to-day basis. It just absolutely is. Everybody is doing it in life. It's just what happens. So, but we've got some powerful, very strong, very dedicated individuals like Holly out here pushing through and still trying to accomplish her goals in the midst of being a full-time mom and a full-time parent and loving all of those things and adjusting as she needs to so that she can, just provide. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So, one thing I want to talk about specifically, how does everything, I don't want to say get in the way, but alter, or how does that impact your need, or how does that impact like the small things that you have to do to stay on top of that one hobby that you have that's been like for you, your fitness, right? How do those things impact that? So obviously your food and meal prep and things like that stuff is going to be impacted. How much you can move on a day-to-day basis, the type of exercise you're doing, the sleep we talked about, you mentioned the sleep, those type of things are going to have and be a factor, and you reaching your goals. So tell me, how are those requirements still met? Are they still met? Do they fall through the cracks?
Oh, they fall through the cracks all the time, right? I mean, it's probably the single most frustrating thing because, I know I need to be doing all of these things and I know what it takes to do them, but it just literally takes like one little decision, one action, one thing to come up where my timeline is completely thrown for the weekend. I mean, working and having our schedule so full during the week like we have, we try to shove everything into the weekend, and it just, gosh, it can be exhausting at times to try to get it all done in 48 hours or so. Grocery, meal prep, get everything organized for the week, plan out what everybody's going to have for dinner every night. We try on the really good days and times when we're really functioning with everything doing great. Sundays are meal prep days. We've got a meal plan laid out for the week of dinner. Things are kind of sorted and organized with what's going to be had for dinner. I usually am the one who stays at work later at night. And so on those nights, if Brad is doing the pickup for the boys and he's coming home to cook dinner, it's helpful, right? And I know I've helped my family by having a plan in place. I'm kind of just a planner and a little bit of a control freak in that way by nature, but it's the way I help if I'm not at home doing the meal preparation on a weeknight when it's dinner time, is to kind of say, okay, here's the plan, here's everything sorted and organized. Those are really good weeks, right, for home. And then of course I've got my water and I've got all of my meals planned out to take with me for work. Those are the good weeks. The hard weeks are, where those things don't happen. And honestly, because our schedules have been so hectic and because it doesn't take much to throw that ability to get everything done in the weekend off, we probably don't do those good week things as often as we do the bad week things, which are, I'm ordering lunch at work through DoorDash, and I can make a healthy choice that way, but that impacts two things: A, financials, because DoorDash meal delivery is crazy expensive. B, I'm usually doing it at the last minute, so I haven't eaten anything all day until 2 or 3 sometimes. Or I've been much better about water. That's really just, it's taken a long time, but it's become a natural habit to just have my water bottle constantly filled up. Keep increasing my water bottle size because that's less time I have to take to fill my water bottle up, so that helps as well. We don't really buy, soda or tea or anything in the house anymore, just trying to control that. So water and coffee are pretty much what I live on.
Yeah.
But, then the bad weeks are also ordering dinner in and those sorts of things, and just not making time. And you've gotten calls from me, right? Hey, I'm stuck at this meeting at work. I can't make it to exercise. That's the stuff I really try not to avoid. But when stress gets really heavy, I tend to make those sacrifices and those choices.
Right. So we've kind of discussed, we've gotten all the obstacles out there in the open, right? And so one thing that I like to do is kind of push out all of, while a lot of those obstacles, of course, are appreciated and respected and desired because they're our kids and our way of life and things like that. We cannot forget where we actually are in life, right? So, let me just boast Holly up a little bit here for a second. So, and I sent Holly an example of the itinerary before we started. So this is a curveball for Holly. So Holly, be ready for that, and you all be ready for that also.
Oh man.
So Holly actually, Holly looks great, you all. She's got a great physique. You're seeing the Zoom here, you're seeing the video, so that she has a very beautiful face also. And so she's also very high energy when she has the energy, and just a very, very positive, very nice, giving individual. Okay. And so with that being said, one would ask themselves, how does she keep her image? How does she do this? How does she still look so great? How does she still move so well despite, some of the knee injuries, the long days at work and things like that? So, I'm curious, and I'm sure the audience is curious, how do you keep Holly? Like, how do you stay being you looking as great as you do. Like, how do you do that when you have just so many things on your plate? Like, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, again, it wasn't always this way, right? And there's certainly still things within me that I don't know that I've where I want to be, right? But it's water is the biggest thing, like trying to stay away from soda and any other things. And not to say I don't have those on occasion, I certainly do. But water for me has been the biggest change that I could make, was just getting enough water. It was amazing, eye-opening, right? Working together to learn how much water I really wasn't getting in the day. And then just exercise, just making time to go to those couple of personal training sessions. I'm trying to move around my office when I can. When the weather's really nice at work and I'm in the office, I'll try to get outside and go for a quick walk. Those sorts of things.
So you got the consumption and the movement down.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know about your mental, because how do you keep your mental? Because at the end of the day, like, obviously you can do these. Some of those things are just like, robotic, if you will. Like, you can make your meals and they just kind of happen. But your mental, that's a practice. That's something you've got down to a T. So, what's going on there? How do you stay so awesome at that?
This is a curveball, Austin, because I don't know that I would say I stay awesome at that.
I know I'm making you.
Yeah.
I kind of pushed all the obstacles out, and then now I'm making you turn those into a positive, right?
Right. I mean, I think it's just knowing what my ending motivation is. And I don't know that I really could say I was clear on those things until probably the last couple of years. So, I've done a lot of maturing, if you will, or growing up, really focusing in. One thing that not having a lot of free time does is it forces you to get really focused on what your priorities are.
Okay.
And I would say that I didn't do that from any like checklist of things to follow. It was really going through some of those points where I was just, I don't want my life to look like this, the sleeping in a couple hours a night and all of that, right? So I just really got really focused on the things that were making me frustrated, and knowing that that wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't making me happy. So switching that and trying to focus in on what I want my future to look like, what I want my family life to look like. And when I get stressed out and I let some of those outward pressures come in and cave in on me and make me feel like things are out of control, I just try to refocus. I've used journaling as a tool off and on to kind of just bullet point out what my priorities are. I don't do it with extreme consistency, but when I'm stressed out, writing things down,
that's interesting,
helps. Kind of just brain dumping things, and really helps me too, to just get all of the thoughts that are going into that stressful mindset, to get those out of my mind and onto paper. Absolutely. I usually keep my to-do list in my head at all times, but when it gets to be too many things, I don't know if you've seen it, or there's this meme that floats around that's like, my brain has too many tabs open. I can totally relate to that, and it makes me laugh every time I think about it. And I think a lot of women have that happen, right? You've got all the kid things to deal with. You've got whatever question your significant other is asking you because they don't have that same responsibility, or they just aren't capable of thinking about it, right? Where is this thing in the pantry today? I don't know. Use your eyeballs and look for it, right? But sometimes it's just easier to ask, and I get it. Anyway, that was just a little bit of humor there. But any of the amount of things that we shuffle around, for me, writing them down if I'm really, really stressed out, even if it's an exorbitant list and I'm never going to accomplish all those things, I'll write it out, and then I'll tell myself, okay, this is really unrealistic. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Just do the next thing that's in your control, or that will help you feel better, or that is the next priority, and the list will get smaller.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we title this, full-time on the air with Holly Cropper, full-time success through full-time obstacles. That's I don't know. That's just kind of like an idea.
Okay.
But so here's what I'd like to do to kind of tie this all together, Holly. And a lot of times, I don't say this enough, but just from being, next to Becca on a day-to-day basis and seeing the, kind of the emotional like up and downs, that come from essentially being a single mom, right? Like Becca and I are together. However, we
when you're not there.
yeah, in today's society, we still kind of live like the caveman life, right? You got your hunter gatherers, and then you've got your.
Sorry, give me just a minute. Everybody just got home, guys. Quiet, please.
Authenticity here. Authenticity.
Right.
You told them they'd be there, so it's all good.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. So essentially, I'm gone away doing work and stuff like that, and she's here. And so what I've noticed is that there are, obviously a ton of obstacles just on a day-to-day, emotionally, mentally, that women, especially if they're mothers, are, I don't want to say like battling and fighting against, because these aren't like negative things. They're just, there are people that are just taking your time away from the things that you would, ideally like to do, like for you or something like that. Now it's just something different that you're doing for yourself. It's just, they're catered towards someone else. At any rate, and so I'll always have this respect for the women that I coach and train. I'll always have this respect for the women that I share my life with because of this. And it took my mother passing to realize how much of a boss she was. It took me essentially giving my life to, helping to change the lives of other women. And then, of course, being around Becca as often as I am, to realize that there are things that I personally, as a man, just don't know shit about. And at the end of the day, the only thing that we can do is look to understand and look to try and gain some information. And so it really speaks to how powerful you are as individuals, to be able to navigate all of those things and still come out on top, and still be able to find the body you want, still be able to find the mental space in the body that you found, still be able to be successful and have a beautiful family, beautiful kids. So you'll always, have my respect, and always have my appreciation for the work that you do and the power that you've created within. So I definitely wanted to have Holly on because of that, because like I said, she's been a huge, as far as content goes, someone that I've been listening to. And, it's been a long time coming as far as getting her on to talk about some of these things. And so I would imagine she's going to be a big inspiration to some of those people that are listening and who are trying to chase after these fitness goals and movement goals and have A through Z, obstacles that they are trying to navigate. So Holly, I can say a bunch of shit, but I want to know from you, what sort of message or advice or anything like that you have, that you can give the listeners, the people watching or listening, which most likely are probably women.
Fair, since that's, a lot of your client base. Well, before I give my message, you are very good, Austin, at, helping everybody feel good about themselves and find the positive things. So I just want to say I appreciate all that you've done for me as my coach and a friend. Just think that my experience with personal trainers so far, you're certainly the best of the best there. And just the mindset and the happiness that you bring to folks is really been helpful to me in kind of finding some of these things out about myself. So thank you.
Absolutely. My heart just expanded like 3 times.
It's deserved. So, I don't know. you know that I don't always think that I am the best person to give advice. But really, if I could share anything with women, and, even why I wanted to do the wellness retreat is because I know women don't take time to really take time for themselves that aligns with their priorities. There's a lot of outward pressure to look a certain way and to do all of these things, right? Whether you're a working mom or you're not, it doesn't matter. There's so much societal pressure. So my advice is to find something to do consistently for your own well-being that is in touch with the person you want to be. Do it because it makes you feel good, because it makes you feel proud, because it refreshes you and recharges you. And don't do things because it's what you see on Instagram. And take time for yourself, and just stay true to your priorities, and don't compete with others. Don't compare yourself to others, because gosh, it'll eat away at your self-esteem, and it will eat away at your well-being and your happiness. And there's just way too much joy in life to realize. And it's joy that is important to you, and it shouldn't matter to anyone else. It should just be what's true to yourself.
Oh yeah. I couldn't have said it any better if I rehearsed and tried to for 3 to 4 years. You said it just perfectly. And so this is going to be a big part, of course, of the communication we're going to be looking to have with all of the individuals in attendance at the Women's Wellness Retreat in April, and 24th through the 25th. So just continue to look out for information on that. Obviously, more information will be dropped on the podcast, on the posts, as we mentioned at the beginning of this. Holly, where can they find you as far as social media goes, and just any additional information about the retreat?
Yep. So my personal page, Holly Cropper on Facebook, HCropper01 on Instagram, but everything for the wellness retreat is on Facebook and Instagram as HC Events. And we do have on that HC Events page a Women's Wellness Retreat event that is created. So you can follow along there as we start to get more active with our posting on who's going to be participating in the event from a session leadership standpoint, registration details, and so forth.
Nice. Very cool. All right, y'all. And of course, if you're looking for some coaching and some great nutritional and, strengthening weight loss programming or what have you, whatever your goal may be, always going to push you in the direction of fitness that fits you. You can apply for coaching, and the link will be in the description here of the podcast, along with some of the social media resources or outlets here for Miss Holly Cropper and myself. You can follow me on Instagram at Austin FTFY and Facebook at the FTFY Information Community page, in which case we put a lot of different social media posts and live events or live conversations that we have on that page, just trying to give as much value as possible there. Okay. Also, if you are on the lookout for some supplements, pre-workout, post-workout, BCAAs, creatine, or what have you, whatever you're looking for, SubHub Louisville, Westport Road, here in Louisville, Kentucky. You go on over there, tell them Austin Pegram with Fitness That Fits You sent you, and you will get up to 20% off on all of your supplementations. And of course, you will also get a free t-shirt and free water bottle. Okay. So go on down to SubHub and get what you need. Tell them I sent you. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything here. Okay. Holly, thanks very much for coming on today. Just a reminder, you all, Holly said it best. Please find ways to be good to yourself. Pretty please, with sugar on top. At the end of the day, when you go to sleep, it's all about where you are mentally, whether you have someone next to you or not. If you're not in a positive and good place within yourself, then you're going to wake up not in a positive and good place with yourself. Okay. So be good to yourself. Love yourself. Find things for you. Holly, thank you very much for coming on today. It was awesome. Okay. All righty, y'all. You have a good one, and see you later.